Hi, boys and girls. I'm gonna read you this storybook. It is called, the 5-Minute Marvel Story. So the first story that we're gonna read it will be the new Spider-Man in town. And look at this. This is cool, boys and girls. Awesome. Miles Morales is a student at Midtown High School in New York City. He is happy and he has a thirst for knowledge, especially science. He was a young boy just like any other, working hard and doing the right thing. But something happened that changed his life for good. This is Miles Morales. So let's see what changed good for him around his life was yours. Well, in chemistry class, Miles noticed that his good friend Peter Parker kept sneaking out of school. Miles grew suspicious, wondering if something was wrong with Peter, if he was okay. So one day, Miles followed Peter and watched as he snuck a mask from his bag. But it wasn't just any mask that Peter was sneaking, it was a Spider Man's mask. Miles couldn't believe it. But when Peter was leaving school that afternoon, Miles called to Peter, "Hey, Peter! Where are you headed?" Peter awkwardly smiled back and said, I got an assignment for the Daily Bugle. Yeah, I got to go." Miles didn't believe that either. He followed Peter to a giant lab. Inside the lab, Miles lost track of Peter and he didn't notice the genetically altered spider slowly spinning a web and dropping down toward him. So this is Peter Parker sneaking out of school as Spider-Man. And Miles is noticing it. See Miles look at him? There he is. He's looking at Peter Parker. Now Miles was following Peter Parker, but I guess he lost him. But he entered the lab, and now the spider is gonna do something to Miles. Let's see what happens next. Yow! The spider bit Miles right on the hand. Miles knocked it off. He knew instantly that this was no ordinary spider bite. Instead of getting sick from the spider bite, Miles soon discovered that it gave him spider powers. "I gotta figure it out what this means. What should I do?" He ran home fast. Think, Miles told himself. If Peter really is Spider-Man, then what did he do? Miles searched for articles about Spider-Man. Okay, so you get powers. Check. Then what? You make a costume and go stop bad guys. That seems obvious. With that, Miles created his own Spider-Man costume and leaped into the city. So now Miles becomes Spider-Man because all happened he got bit by a spider. You see, boys and girls? The spider bit him. But now he turned to Spider-Man. And that's really cool. Let's see what happens next. I can run on walls, Miles yelled as he scaled the side of a building. He was enjoying discovering his powers, and climbing walls wasn't the only one. Miles soon discovered he had an amazing spider sense that warned him of danger. What the heck? Miles couldn't ignore the ringing in his brain. That is when he noticed the burglars running behind him. In that instant, what started off as fun became very scary. Miles has really big decisions to make. Should he run from the danger and stay safe? Or should he use his new powers to try to stop these villains? So let's see, Miles trying to stop a burglar, but I think Miles got scared because of his new powers. Let's see. Miles Miles realized that if he was going to call himself Spider-Man, he was going to have to act like Spider-Man. Much to his surprise, Peter Parker, as the original Spider-Man, was already on the case. One of the criminals was getting away, but Miles was able to help. "Hold on, helmet head," he announced. "The only place you're racing off to is prison." Miles had powers to match Peter's and was easily able to contain the thief. So they both got the thief and he helped Peter Parker, Spider-Man. So let's see what happens next. Well, they did got the thief. Well, that's good. They got the bad guys. It wasn't until the action was over that Miles realized just how much danger he was really in. He climbed to the top of a building and wanted to fade away, which is exactly what he did. This was a brand new power, one that Peter didn't have. He camouflaged himself into his surroundings. Peter Parker swung up to where Miles had been. "Miles, is that you?" Peter called out. "I recognize your voice. Believe it or not, I know what you're thinking. I went through the same thing when I first got my powers." Miles was stunned. "You did?" "Sure I did," Peter said. "My Uncle Ben used to tell me that with great powers, there must also come great responsibility." That is true. Powers must come with great responsibility. Peter tossed Miles something from his costume. "Here, you can have these extra web shooters for now," said Peter. "Oh, cool! Well, cool," Miles said while testing out the web shooters. Miles looked up to Peter, figuring out what he should do. "Maybe I can follow you around for a few days. See how it goes." That's really cool. Now there's two Spider-Mans. Really awesome. Peter Parker and Miles Morales. "I think that is a good idea, but you can't go around calling yourself Spider-Man, Miles. That name's taken." "Well, I'm definitely Spider-Man," Miles said, smiling again. The two swung off together to patrol the friendly neighborhood. It wasn't too long before Peter got them into quite a pickle, surrounded by some of the nastiest villains in New York City. And that is when Miles knew. So now they were swinging in the neighborhood and they found some villains, old villains in this city, and the most nastiest, dangerous villains. And there they are, they gotta fight them off. That's really cool. And look at Miles, that's a really awesome Spider-Man uniform. Sorry, costume. He was born. Miles knew what he was doing. He was born for this. Look at how awesome they're fighting off evil bad guys. That's really cool. They're fighting off the evil villains. Spider-Man and Miles Spider-Man. That's really awesome. The battle roared while Peter kept poking fun at the rampaging villains. Miles was terrified. How do you keep joking in the middle of the fight?" he asked Peter. "Aren't you scared?" That is when the rhino grabbed Peter by the neck. Peter couldn't let out another word, funny or otherwise. Miles turned and let loose his newest and last power, another power that Peter didn't have at all. Miles would later call it his Venom Strike. And it put Rhino down for the count. Peter was safe. Now they're fighting off against Rhino. And Miles uses super, well, I'm just gonna say, striking fighting powers. That's really awesome. That's really cool. Miles and Peter wrapped the baddies up and then maybe a little more than the usual amount of sticky stuff. Peter said, "Come on, if you're not going to change your name, you got to learn how to crack jokes. It is part of the job. Give it a try." Miles scratched his head, thinking while looking down at the web of villains. Then he said, "Looks like you got yourselves into a sticky situation." "Oh, evil doors," Peter sighed. "Well, somebody called the doctor. You have no funny bone." And that is the end of our story. I'll be right back, boys and girls.